What is up, friends? Kenji, NumotTheNummy here for MTGO Traders Cape Fear Games with another draft, this time for Dominaria. Dominaria has been around for a little while now, and I just got back from the Pro Tour recently. My first ever Pro Tour was pretty fun. Went 4-2, so 2-1, 2-1 in the drafts, but had a good time and gonna bring you guys some drafting here. So got our first pack, pick one, pack one. I think there are only two real options: Adeliz, the Cinderwind, and Shivan Fire. Steel Leaf Champion's definitely good. I don't want to take a triple green card to start, and I just think taking the Adeliz or the Shivan Fire are going to be better off. Not too much else here in the pack besides that. I think Blue-Red Wizards is one of the better archetypes in this format, which is why I think first picking Adeliz is definitely fine. But Shivan Fire, I think, is overall a better pickup, splashable in any deck, and just all-around good card. So let's take that and see where we go from there. Ooh, we could do a fun one here. We could second pick a Mirari's Conjecture. That is pretty good with the Shivan Fire I've already taken. I think besides that, you have Fire Fist Adept, maybe Jousting Lance. I'm going to go ahead and just take the Fire Fist Adept. It is, again, awkward that I passed the Adeliz, and now I'm kind of taking the Wizards route, but I like the Fire Fist Adept quite a bit, and it's possible that the Conjecture wheels and that we can build a really nice blue-red kind of combo-y, synergy, wizardy deck, but I think I like taking the Adept here. It's probably the best card, and after taking the Fire, just makes it an easy pickup, so good start. Another pretty decent pack here for the Wizards. It's possible that Sarah's Wings, on Sarah's Wings, is the better card than Journey Mage, but again, given the start that we have here, I think I'd rather take the Journey Mage than on the Sarah's Wings. Otherwise, you have, say, like a Gideon's Reproach and a Whisper, which are both pretty fine cards overall, but nothing amazing. I think I like taking the Journey Mage, keeping the synergy high, and yeah, maybe even wheeling the Syncopate or the Opt if we're lucky. Good start to a draft for sure. And then we have this pack, which just doesn't really have much power in it at all. I think Run Amok is one of the better red tricks for sure, but I don't really care to pick it here this early. That being said, there's just nothing else in the pack, right? It doesn't matter which color you are playing, you're not super thrilled with this pack. Like, white has a few medium cards, green has a few medium cards. Goblin Warchief is not very playable, so we'll just go ahead and take the Run Amok here. Keeps us red for now. And similarly, this pack is not very good. I've actually been fine running Warlord's Fury as just a way to cycle and a way to turn on some of the sorcery or instant relevant cards in this format. Warlord's Fury, doing a fine job of that. Radiating Lightning is also an okay one to start in your main deck, and I do enjoy having one of these in my sideboard for the Sapling decks or the decks that just run small creatures, but I think I like taking the Warlord's Fury here first. Could also consider like Pardic Wanderer, but again, pretty medium pack overall. Just continue to take the red cards, see what we get past. Again, really poor quality pack. You have like Relic Runner, which is whatever, Slinvoda, Pardic Wanderer, another Warlord's Fury. I'm just going to take another Warlord's Fury here. I think you could make an argument for the Pardic Wanderer. We had that choice again last pack, but I'll just keep taking the cantrip cards and seeing what we do from there. Okay, now we have an interesting pickup here because we have a 7th pick Halara the Fire Fletcher, Divination, and an Ancient Animus. All these cards are very good. I think Divination is actually the strongest, and it goes well with what I've taken. But man, it is very tempting to take Halar here, getting its 7th pick. What green have we seen, though, is the question. I don't think we've really seen that much. I'm pretty certain that Adeliz doesn't wheel, but we could get some other of those blue cards. This is a definite turning point. I think I'm going to take the Divination here, but you could take the Halar. Either way, I think is fine. Very easy Rampaging Cyclops. Very happy to see that. Yes, Tolarian Scholar is a wizard, but Cyclops is just a much higher quality card for sure, so I'm going to take that. This was the Adeliz pack. To no surprise, nothing wheeled. Just take a Fire Elemental or a Guardians of Koilos. Almost certainly not going to be running either of those. Again, might not even run the first one, so the second one is out of the question. Always a small chance we do the triple Warlord's Fury, you never know. Looks like somebody took the Mirari Conjecture, the Opt, and the Syncopate. Okay. So yeah, we do have some filler cards here for sure, but I don't think that was a bad start to the draft. I think passing the Adeliz might have hooked somebody into potentially the red-blue, but I haven't passed much red-blue, so I don't expect them to stick to that color. As we just finish off the last few picks here in this pack. Fire, Divination, Cyclops, and 2 top-end Wizards, and then a lot of filler cards, but this is not bad. This is going to be the style of deck that really wants the Get-To Lava Runner. That's the 1 red mana, 1/2, that if you have an instant, or rather if you have 2 instants and or sorceries in your graveyard, it gets +1/+1 haste. But, I mean, we could just open, say, I don't know. I was going to say Siege Gang Commander, but that's in red. We could have opened like a Shalai or something and still been red-white, for example. Okay, pretty strong pack here overall. Garna is solid for sure. Warcry Phoenix is not bad. Snapper is good. Raider is good. Pegasus is good. Surveyor is good. Offering is good. Then you have some more filler cards here. Kind of a turning point. We could take like the Garna here and see if red-black is a route we want to go. I think white might have been the most open out of pack 1. And so Courser is a little bit tempting. I don't mind just taking a straight-up red card here, though. I don't mind taking Keldon Raider and just staying on red. That being said, Skittering Surveyor, just always good. You can play it in every single one of your decks, and it allows for splashes, which, since we don't really have a second color, I think I like taking it here. Is it the best card in the pack? It's actually pretty close. You know, maybe Vicious Offering, but Skittering Surveyor does do a lot of work, so we'll take that and see what happens. Well, there's not much argument here. I think Slimefoot is easily the best card. We're going to go ahead and ignore that and either take the Drake or the Lava Runner. And I think the Drake is just higher quality. It's possible that the Lava Runner wheels. Not many decks are going to want that, and Drake just fits into any blue deck. I don't want to say I'm forcing the Wizards here, but I'm definitely leaning towards that route, you know, if I can. Just because with the cards that I've taken so far, we'd really like to put that into a Wizard's shell, or as opposed to anything else. And you know, this is still early pack 2, so we have a lot of time to fill out our deck and see if we want to do something else. I'm going to take the Fiery Intervention here. Other cards that you consider, maybe even the Valduck, Deep Freeze, Overseer Opt, and there's that Radiating Lightning again, but you can't go wrong with the Fiery Intervention. Plenty of valuable artifacts that you want to kill in this format, like Icy Manipulator, and it generally just deals with all of the threats in the format. Another easy Academy Drake. We're passing a Memorial to Folly, one of the better lands for sure. Another Sarah's Wings, a Blessed Light, but don't mind just taking the Academy Drake here. I think there is a little bit of argument to take the Blessed Light, though, because I already do have a Skittering Surveyor, and so splashing is not out of the question. But I think I like the card quality of the Drake in this pack. Tiana, Juggernaut, Cyclops. You know, with triple Warlord's Fury, the Juggernaut's definitely not terrible. And I have some removal and some combat tricks, so I think I'm going to take it here over the Cyclops. It seems that I could have had definitely a decent red-white deck, but I think our red-blue deck is also very, very good. So, not going to complain here, as we pick up either a Memorial to Genius, Deep Freeze, or Run Amok. Memorial to Genius is just one of my favorite cards in this set. It's just so much value, right? It's a land that turns into a Divination later on in the game, and even though Deep Freeze is a solid removal spell, and Run Amok a good combat trick, I think I like prioritizing the Memorial here. It just turns your land into a spell later on in the game. I think this is a Syncopate over Sorcerer's Wand. Still looking for some more creatures to fill up our curve, but Diligent Excavator is not something I'm interested in taking. Slight issue here. I only have one creature that comes down before turn 3. And that's currently the Bloodstone Goblin, which is more filler than anything else. Again, we are hoping that the Goblin Lava Runner from the earlier pack wheels. And in fact, I'm going to be happy to take this second Bloodstone Goblin here over any of those other creatures. Familiar is filler, Guardians is filler. They do have homes in decks, but this is not the deck for them, so let's get the bear. Ooh, nice wheels for us. Gonna jam this Keldon Raider. I think that's better. We do have enough 3-drops right now, and Scholar, again, does have synergy with both Journey Mage and Adept, but I think the Raider is just a solid card, or a better card overall, so easy take for me. And now we'll take the Overseer over the Opt. I think it was this pack that had the Lava Runner, but it might have been the next one. There were 2 packs that had Overseers in addition to the Lava Runner in it, so we'll see. Nope. That first pack was the one that had the Lava Runner then. But we picked up the double Keldon Overseer, which is not terrible. All these creatures that I've picked up with much higher power than toughness are not terrible with the Warlord's Fury. But that being said, you're generally just cycling these as soon as you can. You're not really using these as tricks, right? You're not waiting until your turn when you have creatures to cast an attack. You're generally just cycling it away, getting the card value immediately. Pack 2 helped us quite a bit. I think we're going to get rewarded Pack 3 for kind of cutting off pretty hard the red and the blue cards. And we did open another nice one here. Tetsuko, Academy Drake, Cloud Reader Sphinx, some other fine playables like Deep Freeze, but I'm going to go with the Sphinx here. Still need a few more creatures, and Cloud Reader Sphinx is just one of the best blue commons in the set, if not the best blue common. Yeah. I don't expect to wheel any card from this, but I'm not going to complain about getting the Sphinx. Blackblade Reforged now. Well, I don't have any legendary creatures, so the full equip cost is going to be 7. Question is that card better enough to take, even though I don't have any legendary creatures, than, say, the Relic Runner or the Sentinels of the Pearl Trident? Best card in the pack being Vicious Offering, I think. In some decks, Blackblade will be better. This is not one of those decks. It's either taking the 2-drop Relic Runner or kind of hedging on the Blackblade. I'll take the Blackblade and see what happens. Joda, Moral to Genius number 2. There is another Deep Freeze. I should probably take at least one of these Deep Freezes that have been going around. I don't think I like taking Joda here, even though, again, we do have that Skittering Surveyor. I think Memorial's probably just a better pick. Ooh, a Chronicler is real good. This is one of the better wizards for sure. I think it was first underrated in the format, and then people realized how good it was. How good is it in my deck? It's great with Sheevan Fire, Run Amok, Divination. It's good with Fiery. And then we do have more targets in the form of those Warlord's Furies and the Syncopate. I think the first Chronicler is better than the third Drake, so let's take that. Sorry, Deep Freeze. That's like number 5. Journey Mage or Keldon Raider number 2. I do like the Keldon Raider a little bit more. I think that's fine to take. Sorry, Journey Mage. Alright, there's a Lava Runner for us. A very late Night of Grace. Yeah, I think if I could go back and do the draft again, I'd probably end up in red-white, perhaps? Or at least something in white, because I feel like the white has been flowing quite heavily, and I just didn't capitalize early enough. I was too focused on the synergies of my deck. But hey, 2 late Lava Runner here is not terrible. Wheel another Keldon Overseer. Looking for cards to cut now. Let's see, currently 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 instants and sorceries. So not the best Lava Runners, but they're not terrible. Can probably cut at least one of the Warlord's Furies, maybe even 2. Syncopate, Flame of Keld. I don't need 2 Syncopate. I don't need 4 Fury. Let's take the Flame of Keld for sideboard. Fervent Strike's not awful. I might actually run the Fervent Strike over the Syncopate. That seems better with the creatures that I have in this deck. There's also definitely merit to running 18 lands when 2 of my lands are memorials. But I think we can get away with 17 just fine. We're going to end up running like 10-7 or maybe even 11-6 in favor of red, which makes the memorials a little bit awkward in all honesty. Still think they're worth it though, if we go like that and say run at least 10 mountains. I think 10's good enough, because we still want to have enough to activate the memorials at some point. I think I'm going to not run the Black Blade. Don't need the 3rd Overseer. Definitely don't need any more Fire Elementals. Yeah, this draft was okay. I don't think my deck is like particularly great, but I definitely think it can get there. We're kind of lacking in the removal, yes. I did pass literal 5 Deep Freeze, yes. But I think we can make this work. Really good curve here as well. I wish I had one more run amok. I did have a chance at a second, but we'll have to go like this. And we'll go the old 10-7. 10 mountains and 6 blue, or 10 mountains and 7 blue sources. Should be plenty. Heck, I kind of almost want to go 11-5. Sorry, 11-6 as opposed to 10-7. We don't need the islands until turn 3, or rather the blue sources until turn 3, and that's at the earliest. And we have so much red. I think I'll go ahead and do this though. So we'll submit like this and bring it back for round 1. Alrighty, here we are for round 1 of our Dominaria draft. We are on the draw, and we'll go ahead and keep this hand, not can. Keep the can as well, I guess. Not an amazing hand, of course, and not very good now that we've drawn another land off the top, but it's one of those hands that you definitely don't mulligan on the draw. You know, and if something like this happens, you just kind of take your beats and accept your fate. Let's see if the opponent plays a mountain. They might also be playing wizards. Remember, we did pass Adelies in the draft, and even though this is a league, you're most likely to play the people in your league in the first round. Wow, we run 3 straight land drops, unfortunately. But one of them being a memorial, I guess, isn't awful. We're probably just going to go Drake into Drake and hope it's good enough. It's a Shivan Fire. So, presumably, this person probably has an Adelies and was sitting to our left, maybe 1 or 2 positions. We did pass a few candles for sure as well. Not hard to imagine that. What else do they have? They probably have a decent number of Deep Freeze. If we're being completely honest. Heck, they could have like 4 Deep Freezes. This looks like... Oh my gosh, is a Heat of the Djinn? I think we actually just lose to that. Because I don't have a Deep Freeze. Well, you tell me, is a turn 5, 5/6 flyer any good? Jeez. I literally don't think I have an answer to that. Because even Fiery Intervention doesn't deal with that. I need Fiery plus Fire. And they have a Tempest of the Djinn? What is going on? I think this is pretty safe to scoop. Alright, well. Turns out when your opponent has 2 solid rares, it's a little bit hard. This might be a matchup where I need to bring in Syncopate just because their power level's a little bit higher. Let's take out the Fury, let's bring in the Syncopate. And I guess let's cross our fingers that they don't don't draw one of them. We'll play first, that's fine. Yeah, this hand's better. We got a 2-drop, 3-drop Divination, and hopefully a Keldon Raider on 4. Remember, we have 10 red sources in the deck, only 7 blue, so we have drawn a lot of our blue sources in the last 2 games. Unless I draw a mountain next turn, I'm probably going to Divination. They just cast a fire to kill my 2/2, that's fine. Because if I don't draw a mountain next turn, I'd prefer to cast, you know, Raider on turn 4, then Bloodstone on turn 3, and then Hope. Nice, we did draw mountain as our second card there, so that's good. They also go for a Divination. And we're just going to go ahead and discard, I think, this extra island. There's Memorial. We've drawn 4 of our 7 blue sources this game. Crazy. Luckily, there's going to be no turn 4 Zahid, as they don't have an artifact. We can kind of just tempo them out. I can't cast Journey Mage next turn unless I draw an untapped land, but unless they just use a removal spell on my Keldon Raider, Run Amok should be able to push through anything that they do here. Yeah, I'm just jamming. Only 1 instant in the graveyard currently. We'll see if they block. They do. And we get a nice Run Amok. Get some trample, kill their 4/4. We're going to play Memorial, and we are going to just play the Goblin here. So we have 2 instants and sorceries in our graveyard now, so next turn we can go Lava Runner into Journey Mage, which, if their best play is just a creature, should probably win the game on the spot. Squee! I guess that's kind of annoying. Yeah, so let's go Lava Runner here. Get to play around to Syncopate for 1 even, bounce their Squee, hit them for 8, put them to 9. And then we get to Chronicler back like our Run Amok next turn, so that on the following turn our combat is just unbeatable, basically. What are they? Oh, they blinked of an eye. Okay, so they used Blink of an Eye there just to buy some time. Notably, when I kick the Chronicler, my Bloodstone Goblin is going to get +1/+1 in Menace, which is nice. Ooh, but that seems a little more tempting to me now. I think we just fire the Squee. Obviously, that's not great, right? It's a little bit awkward since they can just recast Squee, but we force in 7 damage this way, and we get to recast our 4/3, so it's just going to be very, very hard for them to survive next turn. Because even if they play, you know, Zahid, just land Zahid, we have just overwhelming forces. Good little tempo out there. Helps that the opponent didn't do too much as well in the early stages of the game. Do I want to sideboard anything in now? I don't think so. The Unwind seems like it could be fine, but I'd rather just keep the other cards. The Overseers are not terrible, for sure, and they're better late game when the opponent plays one of their flyers and I can kind of steal it, get in some damage, but I think we just need to hope to have a similar draw in game 3. Like if we can have one of our 2 drops or 1 drop on turn 1 or 2, that'd be really solid. Nah, can't complain about this hand though. Again, it is very slow. We're not doing anything until turn 3, but solid overall, right? Drake, Raider, Divination. Can't complain. Or rather, can complain, but won't. Problem is our deck doesn't have that much interaction, right? We just have the fire, we have intervention, we have bounce, we have the... I think we sideboarded in the Syncopate, right? Yeah, we have the Syncopate. But if they just get to the late game, I think their card quality a little bit above ours. Or at least we know they have some powerful rares at the very least. There's the Arcanist. Hopefully they don't jam Adeliz here. Alright. Tax for 1. Oh, no land play. Well, that's going to be nice for us. Don't mind if this gets syncopated or fired, which we've seen both of. Oh, yeah, we've seen the fire, but it looks like they don't have it, because I think if they did, they would have used it end of turn. They have a kind of a free roll attack with the Arcanist. I'm not going to block. It's just not worth it. They could have a Fervent Strike. They could have a Run Amok, and it's only 1 damage, so I think I'd rather preserve my 2/2 flyer, even though that is technically a free roll attack on their part. So jam in the air. And we will play Keldon Raider, discarding the island. Drawing a Bloodstone. Now it'll be telling. If they attack with either one or both of their creatures, then we know for sure they have a trick, or that they're just next leveling me, potentially. But nope, it's just a squee, and we are a-okay with that fact. And again, we have a really nice attack this turn, as it's very tempting for them to double block the Keldon Raider, in which case Fervent Strike is really good. Oh wow, they're going for the triple block. Okay. If I wanted to, I could kill all 3 creatures by using Fervent Strike and Fire, but I think we're just going to Fervent Strike and deal with both their threats for 1 mana. Okay, so we're just going to leave the Arcanist alive. I'm going to cast the Fervent Strike. First strike down the 2/3 and the 2/1. Again, I don't think it's worth using Shivan Fire there to kill the Arcanist. But it is possible that it is. I would not be surprised if I'm supposed to kill that with the fire. I just don't think it's correct to, right? Because we can already kick it. Like, it's not a good block for them anyways. If they just, say, recast Squee from their graveyard this turn, we get to kind of get them once they double block again. So we'll wait on it. No reason to fire it off. No reason to Shivan fire it off. Okay, I'm done. I'm sorry. Yep, they're just going to recast Squee from their graveyard. Play a land. Drew an intervention. Yep, let's just go to combat. Attack with both. Again, I expect a double block here. And that's fine. We know they have Blink of an Eye in their deck, which is not the worst here, right? Because I'm going to fire off on the Squee. If they have Blink, they use it, and then I can just recast my Keldon Raider. If they don't have it, then I get to just eat their Arcanist. And they're still taking 4 here, regardless. Alright, so it does look like they have the Blink, but that's fine. It gets the Blink out of their hand. I don't lose my creature. Their Squee still goes to the graveyard from the fire. We get to play out the Raider, discard this Bloodstone Goblin, so we still get value. Ooh, and a Chronicler can get back Fire, can get back Divination, can get back Intervention. That was not a bad draw. Okay, they did hit a land for the turn. They're going to play a Tempest Djinn. That blocks my flyers. Little do they know, though, I have an intervention for that. And that, honestly, might just be enough. That removal spell on this turn was probably the straw that broke the camel's back. Because now if they don't chump, they go to 4. If they do chump, they still go to 8, right? And I have a ton of creatures. Like, even Zahid at this point is probably not going to be enough. We shall see, though. It is on them to make a move. Just a Deep Freeze. Again, we were expecting them to have quite a few of those, so I'm surprised they didn't have more. I'm going to go with the Divination here. And if we hit a land, I can Keldon Overseer. If not, still hit him for 4. And actually at this point, with only one card in their hand, I think it's worth it to run out the Chronicler. Because Chronicler plus Overseer is also 4 damage. So even though I only need 1 more mana to wait for the value on this, because we're so far ahead, I think it's worth it. Precognition Field. Alright, that will be game. Alright, nice little first round there. And let's get ready for round number 2. Round 2 underway of this Dominaria draft. Again, we are on the draw, and a pretty good hand here. Gonna go ahead and keep that. A little bit slow, but good nonetheless. Memorial off the top. Memorial for both players. So few. Friendly fellow on the red-white. Oh man, feels good to go double Memorial when your opponent doesn't have a 1 or a 2 drop. No Danithus. Oh, no 3 drop either. Man, what's it like? Alright, 2 lines of play here. Academy Drake or Surveyor. I think the Drake is a better play. We're not really digging for lands yet. And the Drake starts putting a little bit of pressure on them. Kind of wanted to start getting the beats in while I can. Oh, that is a Traxos. Well, fortunately for us, we do have a Fiery Intervention in hand, so we're going to be able to deal with that Traxos next turn. The problem is we might take 7 this turn. I think in this scenario, we actually want to get another island. Reason being, since we have double Memorial, we're going to want to sack those off later on in the game anyways. And so we're going to want to have more blue sources for that later on. Woof! Triumph of Gerard. That's nasty. They didn't have a 3-drop earlier, so I don't think it's super likely they have one here. But they could have drawn one, of course. Alright, as they did. We actually have 2 lines here. We can either Fiery the Traxos now, which I don't think is necessarily worth it. But, actually, that being said, if I Intervention the Traxos, then the 1/1 counter goes on Unicorn, right? And then I can just Journey Mage the Unicorn afterwards. Otherwise, I can Journey Mage the Traxos, their 1/1 counter goes on the Unicorn, they don't attack. I guess either way is pretty good. And that's what I think. What's better here? The play is either Intervention or Journey Mage, right? So let's see. Journey Mage, bounce Traxos. Triumph of Gerard targets Mesa Unicorn. If they attack, I can trade with the Journey Mage, all as well. And then they replay Traxos, I Intervention. Or if I Intervention Traxos right now, Triumph of Gerard goes on Mesa Unicorn. They attack for 3. So I guess this is probably the better play this turn. Now, this does run into them having a land into Adamant Will. Is the only issue. Right? Because if they go land, Traxos, and have Adamant Will, then Fiery Intervention gets a little bit wrecked. But I kind of like this line, as now their attack with Mesa Unicorn is a straight-up trade, and I would definitely accept that. Wow, they're going to Fiery Intervention my my Journey Mage to get in with the Unicorn this turn. That's a little bit surprising to me, but I'm okay with that, as we will just jam the Sphinx. Bottom. This Adept is not looking too good, is it? It's only 1 damage right now. I think we double bottom, honestly. And then attack for 3. We get to play a 4/4 Drake next turn, so even if they have another removal spell here, say Blessed Light or Intervention number 2, or Shivan Fire. We still have a big flyer that can block it the following turn. They did. So they have Traxos and 1 unknown in their hand. That's fine. Again, I think I just like playing out the fat flyer here instead of using Intervention on their Unicorn. But it turns out that they might not have had another historic card in their hand, so Traxos might have just stayed tapped for a while. Easy block for me if they attack, which they did not. And we will just pop that off. Oh! Well. Meant to choose the destroy target artifact there, but instead chose the 5 damage mode. That's my fault for just clicking too fast. Hopefully we don't get super punished, but we will see. Partick Wanderer. Oh well. So Traxos dies there. Yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna take it. We probably win that game if I don't misclick. That's kind of frustrating. Kind of just talking through my plays too quickly there. I think we just run it back. Don't need Syncopate. Man, oof! That one stings a bit, as I definitely think we should have won that one. Yeah, go ahead and keep this hand even though it's a little slow. That's one of those mistakes that only happens online and not in paper, and you kind of just got to suck it up. It stings, but what are you going to do? I don't know, man. They think they didn't matter. But I still had 4 spells in my hand. I had the Chronicler to rebuy the Intervention. Yeah, I think we probably win that game. Right? I kill it. They play Daring Archaeologist, get it back. I play Chronicler, get back Intervention, so that when they do cast the Traxos, I can just immediately kill it. Oof. Feels bad, man. But we just play our game. Ooh, that killed an Overseer hurts in the face of the Skittering Surveyor. We can either go Juggernaut or we can play Keldon Raider here. Both pretty comparable, honestly. We don't mind ditching the lands that we have in our hand. I think I'm going to start rummaging here. We'll ditch one of the islands. It's only 1 less damage. And our line of play is still quite strong. And that way we can dig deeper to our relevant threat arenas. We will see, though. We will see. Another Keldon Overseer. Oh, and they're attacking. All right, I dig it. Don't have any instants and sorceries in my graveyard right now. So let's just bash for 4. They feel like racing, which is a little bit surprising. I think I'm going to ditch the Lava Runner here. Reason being, we want to have that, excuse me, 5th land so that we can play Juggernaut and Fervent in the same turn. Dominant Trapper, that's fine. If I attack, they go block, block. That's fine. Let's attack with both. They block, block. We'll first strike one of them and then play the Juggernaut follow-up. Doesn't really matter which one. And again, with them stuck on lands, next turn's going to be brutal, as I bounce any one creature they play and hit them for 9, and then Fiery Intervention post follow-up. Ah, okay. Wizard's Lightning's good there. Yeah, Wizard's Lightning is a little bit awkward, because I only have one threat on the battlefield. So let's just Divination. Hit some bricks. Hope they don't have more removal, I guess. A little bit out of gas here. Yeah, if they just have another removal spell, we're not going to be sitting too pretty. Oh, that's very good. I like bouncing this turn and then Overseering next turn. Because I think if they had Call the Cavalry, well, they might not have played a Call the Cavalry if they had it there, but any one creature here is just game over. Okay, they got Stumbled on Mana there. I misclicked the game 1. Okay, let's go to game 3, even though it's going to sting if we lose this one. Some close games, though. Really back and forth. Well, between the first round and this round, and the first game. I think in this one it just depends on who can get the faster board presence, really, because we both have some decent creature quality. The thing is, I don't have that much removal, right? We've drawn the Intervention both times, which is a little bit lucky. This is a pretty easy keep. We get to cycle Warlord's Fury turn 1, 2-drop, 3-drop, 4-drop, potentially 5-drop, so we will see. We will see. Put on a mulligan to 6 on the play. Turn 1 Memorial. Surveyor, alright. No third land yet, but we still have multiple draws at it, so I'm not worried. Okay, still have another draw at it. If we don't hit our land next turn, it's going to be a little bit... feels bad, but what are you going to do? We did. I think we just offer the trade here. They're on a mulligan to 6, and we're on the draw with a Divination, some removal, and bounce in our hand. So any trade that we make right now is actually going to be in our favor, I think. And I'm just going to apply the pressure. I'm going to apply Drake here. Because what we can do next turn is we can play Surveyor, get a Mountain, and then Shiv and Fire their Trapper. With 3 cards in their hand, I'm actually going to block. Because if they use a pump effect there, I don't mind that. And we will just make that play I was talking about. And then from here we are looking pretty good. Again, drawing our Fiery Intervention, the one of. Seems good. Keldon Overseer not at its best here, obviously. Nope, I'm just going to attack with both. They're probably going to trade away with a 2-2, which we accept, and then we'll just play the Cyclops. Better to get the creatures off the battlefield for Cyclops, right? Since it has that 2-creature blocking clause. Here comes a Blessed Light or Intervention. Yes, it is. That's fine. Now on this turn, I will Divination, hope to hit a land into Bloodstone. Or a Lava Runner. Okay, then that'll work. That will definitely work. That also unlocks our Journey Mage, since we only have 4 lands, but the Lava Runner is a wizard, so it reduces our Journey Mage cost by 1. They do have access to Memorial to Glory, but that's not too big of a deal, right? I don't think we really care if they double block our Skittering Surveyor. I think they might want to use their Candle here instead. Oh, that's fine. We just have to note that they still have a candle. I think we kind of sandbag the Journey Mage for a bigger creature to really tempo them out. Because the Journey Mage is good on this turn to bounce the Soldier for sure, but I can just play 2 2-drops, which are bigger, rather more power and toughness overall. And that way when I Journey Mage on a following turn, such as this one, it's just a little bit better. Because now any block they make is a chump. They're going to take at least 4 damage, 6 if they don't block. And that should be game. Alright, despite the Fiery Intervention fail in Game 1, it looks like we are going to win the second round as well. And move on to the finals. These are the single elimination queues that I'm playing, so if you lose one round, you're out. And you don't get prizes until you make the finals, so either 2-1 or 3-0 is the only way to get prizes. Oh my gosh, that's kind of brutal, isn't it? They're also just dead on board, so I don't actually need to do anything but attack and say, show me Gideon's Reproach, and when you do, I will run amok in response. Or fire, or nothing and be dead. All of those are acceptable. GG, sir. Yeah, our deck was running quite nicely there. All right, and on to the finals we go. Alrighty, friends, here we are for the finals of that Dominaria draft. We have drafted blue-red pseudo-wizards. We are on the draw. This is a little bit sketchy. I think you're perfectly fine to mulligan this if you want to. But given this is draft and we don't know what our opponent's playing, I don't mind keeping. Not at all upset to draw 2-drop there, I'll tell you that much. Forest. I'd say the most commonly paired colors with a green are black and blue. But we'll see what they're running. Or that, or like 3+ colors, right? Could be saplings. Indeed, it does look that. So if we draw any removal, we're going to want to save it for either like Slimefoot or Thallid Omnivore, as those are the real problematic cards. Well, speak of the devil. How's that for removal? But I don't think this is going to be an easy matchup for us. Oh, you know what? I didn't pick up a Radiating Lightning. I was talking about it all during the draft, but I never actually picked one up. Crap. That would have... I mean, it might have just started in the main deck, honestly, if I had it in the deck, or in the draft. Okay, the representing Gift of Growth, I think, is the #1 contender. They could also have, like, Fungal Infection or Rite of Bells and Lock. There are a few things they could have there. That's kind of awkward. Since I drew the Drake, I'm going to cast it. If I hadn't drawn the Drake, I'd just pass, block, see what they have, and then go for the Shivan Fire. I think next turn I actually block if they attack with their 1/1s again to force out the trick. That way when my Keldon Raider resolves, they're less likely to have a way to deal with it. I don't want to attack there. If they block, I'm not using Run Amok and I'm not using Shivan Fire. And that gives them outs to Fungal Infection at the end of the turn to kill my Bloodstone. So just going to play the Drake and pass. We'll see if they attack. I will then now block with the Bloodstone Goblin. This is also good if they do make that attack and then use that pump spell or whatever it is they have, because then it kind of eats up their turn. So they wouldn't be able to play a 4-drop. Nope, no plays. That's still fine by me, either way. We will simply attack for 2 and then play the Keldon Raider. Could be seeing like a Spore Swarm end of turn. Could be a Dark Bargain. I guess Dark Bargain is a little more likely since it's a common as opposed to uncommon. We'll discard the extra island here. And get one card deeper. Huh, turns out they didn't have anything. Alright, that means they have a lot of bigger cards in their hand. Including a Mammoth Spider. That is fine, since we have the Run Amok. We will jam in and say, would you like to block? Because on the surface of things, this is obviously not a good attack. But given a little muck, it gets better. Doesn't feel much better than, you know, using your 2-mana red trick to deal with a 3/5 reach. I will tell you that much. Does not get much better than that, friends. That allows us to still push in damage in the air. If the game progresses long enough, they might have to use like an Eviscerate or something like that. Oh, they have a Torgar! You can tell it was a Torgar because they were sacrificing those tokens as a part of the cost. Whoa, okay. Casually taking 8 damage there. Get to Lava Runner. I don't see any rush to get the Torgar off the battlefield. We're going to have enough power in our creatures that we don't need to do that. Also, Torgar doesn't have trample, so... I tapped very poorly, obviously. Don't ask me why I tapped like that, because there is not a good reason. It was simply a mistake. Simply a punt. The good news is I'm kind of baiting them, right? I play the Juggernaut, which has to attack. Juggernaut only has 5 power, Torgar has 6 toughness, so they're probably like, okay, what's going on here? I can just eat the Juggernaut for free. And I didn't hold up a red, so they're probably like, okay, he can't have Shivan Fire, right? Wrong! Also, not a bad draw. Not a bad draw. Torgar costs 8. So we get to bounce their Torgar here, and it's going to be very, very hard for them to recast it next turn unless they have a Spore Swarm. Because presumably this Caligo Skin Witch is going to chump something. That might have been, like, the best possible draw. We'll see if they have that Spore Swarm. If they do have the Spore Swarm, the Torgar is going to be targeting themselves, because it's just target player. And so they'd effectively gain some amount of life here. Just a fungal infection, though, is not bad for us. I'm going to let them block and see what happens. Okay. I'm going to fire now. The reason being is I get 1 more damage with my Lava Runner. And now they can't cast Torgar, since even if they draw a land, they don't have a creature to sacrifice. Alright, I mean, looks like we're probably going to win this one. Academy Journey Mage, doing overtime work. Thank you very much. This card has been stellar in all of our matches thus far. We didn't really see too much from the opponent, right? We saw Fungal Infection. That was the trick that they had when they attacked their 1/1s into my 2/2. Spider, Skin Witch, Torgar. I don't mind bringing in one of these cards for Warlord's Fury. I think that's definitely fine. I think I like bringing in the Syncopate a little bit more than the Unwind. But other than that, I'm not going to make any changes. Our Keldon Overseers are probably not going to be too great versus Saprolings, but in positions like that, where we kind of whittle down their creatures, it certainly can have some value. All right, game 2 here in the finals. We're on the draw. We're going to go ahead and keep. No creatures in our hand, but we do have early removal spell plus a divination for some rebuy value. Oh, and the opponent mulliganed to 4? Ouch. Yeah. That's gonna hurt. It's not easy to come back from a mulligan that low on the play. I do feel for the opponent. I think there was only one time where I've ever won on a mulligan to 3, it was. It was like Butcher of the Horde and 2 lands, and I was able to get there. Oh god, divination on the draw with no other plays. I was forced to discard. I mean, I guess they are hitting their lands. Wow, and they have a good one. Okay. They're not out of this. For sure. They're definitely not out of this. Omnivore is one of the better creatures to have. The greed play here is to block and use Fervent Strike. I think that's a little bit too risky. There's no rush when we have a Shivan Fire in our hand. And I'm just going to kill this now before they can get any green mana, before they can do anything. I think that's an easy way for us to lose, leaving the Omnivore on the battlefield. Alright, we'll attack for 2. We'll play the freshly drawn Keldon Raider, discarding this excess island. And you know what? Punished for not doing that pre-combat. I do have 2 Lava Runners in the deck. I probably should have known better. It's another slight mistake for sure. I don't think it's one that's going to matter since the opponent mulligan's so low, but yeah, 2 punts in a few games there, and then that misclick in round 2. But we did manage to 3-0. I didn't think that was necessarily a 3-0 quality deck, but I think we drew pretty well, and we played okay, and some of our opponents had some mana issues, so sometimes, you know, you take the variant side of Magic and you get there. I don't think this was a bad deck by any means. I just think we probably overperformed. We ran well and our opponents ran poor. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that draft, even though I'm not going to say it's the best draft I've ever had, but it was certainly a draft I've had. Thanks to MTGO Traders Cape for Your Game for hosting this draft. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I'll be doing a draft video with them once a week. So this is the first of the weekly draft videos with MTGO Traders. So stay tuned for more on this channel, and don't forget to check out all of my content on all of my other social media, mainly my Twitch stream, twitch.tv/NumotTheNummy. Until next time, we'll see you guys later, and enjoy.